Hi everyone, it's the English Simmer here and welcome back to my channel. I was sat thinking the other day, what does the Sims community need more of? More opinions, and it needs more drama. But I asked you guys to send me your unpopular opinions about The Sims 4. If you guys like this video, if it's popular, if it goes against this title of this whole thing and it actually turns out to be a decent video, then I might make more in the future for other Sims games. But for right now, we're gonna focus on the problem child, on the problematic favorite that is The Sims 4. Honestly, it's because it's the most current one, and people have a lot of opinions about The Sims 4 and how we should be playing it and how the guru should be making it. And honestly, I feel like we just need to vent. The first unpopular opinion I've decided to talk about is the emotion system is far too weak. I don't think this is unpopular. I've said this before, and it always comes up in conversation when people say to me, I wish we had more trait options. Like, I wish we had like 5 trait slots instead of just the 3 that we currently have. I'm always like, yes, that would be great, but it would make the emotion system even more irrelevant than it already is. It was literally one of like the main features that they tried to sell on release. But ever since then, it just seems the more and more packs that are being released, honestly, the more watered down the system becomes. It's really hard to kill Sims through emotions anymore, and that pretty much just shows that it's super watered down. Create a Sim may have better tools, but feels more boring compared to Sims 2 and 3. I actually really like Sim 4 Create a Sim. I think the tools are a lot better. Yes, we don't have a color wheel, which kind of sucks when it comes to eye color and hair color and skin tone. I would definitely prefer if we only had a color wheel for those. If you go back and look at the Sims 2 clothes and the Sims 3 clothes, Sims 4 is so much better. There's way more variety in the Sims 4 in my opinion. Yes, some of the stuff isn't like as out there or as crazy. However, I don't think that it needs to be in this day and age. Like, Sims 2 came out in 2004, so fashion was wild back then. Sims 3, I thought Create a Sim was truly terrible. Even though you could pick the color of what you wanted to wear and you had a color wheel, you could kind of make things your own, the style choices were horrendous. I dare you to go back and play The Sims 2 and 3 and then come back to 4 and tell me that Sims 4 Create a Sim isn't the best out of the bunch. This one had me fuming. This is unpopular for sure. I don't mind the babies being just objects. No! How can you think that? How? Honestly, this has been one of my biggest gripes from The Sims 4 ever since I played it, like when I got invited over to Sims Camp back in August of 2014. The minute I saw that toddlers weren't going to be included in the base game, and then I saw that babies were literally just an object tied to their bassinet, I was like, the community is going to hate this. They're going to be up in arms. Why would you choose to do this? Like, honestly, why was that their final decision? I miss seeing families out in The Sims 4. Whenever you see anyone outside in The Sims 4, it's always like a single person. You don't even know if they have kids or not. Like, I play in Little Simsy Save and I see a Sim. I don't know if they have kids or not. And then I have to go and download a mod where I can ask someone, like, what kind of family do you have? And they're like, oh, well, I have children. But like, I wouldn't know that because it's just a single Sim. They never take their kids like anywhere. They never take toddlers anywhere, and they never take babies anywhere because babies are literally tied to the house. It's one of my biggest gripes and I hate it. I don't hate tits. I hate it. I don't discriminate against any titties. I think it's become a game for people under the age of 18. I mean, this isn't really unpopular, this is just a fact. Like, this isn't even opinion. The Sims has always been a 12 plus game. However, I do kind of understand where you're coming from. Like, if you could have elaborated on this one, I feel like you would have said like it's lost like kind of its riskiness, kind of its cheekiness that it always used to have. I've been playing a lot of The Sims 2 recently, and like even like the makeouts were so much steamier and like a little bit hotter in The Sims 2, and like the cutscenes, there was just kind of this humorous element and cheekiness to previous games. And I mean, in The Sims 1, we freaking had go-go dances. There was cages that people could dance in. Like, what? There was a vibrating love heart bed, for goodness sake. And yes, I do agree, The Sims 4 has become very watered down. And yes, we know that they are trying to bring in a younger audience. I have seen it personally. All my nieces play The Sims 4. They're all like 11, 12 now. And they absolutely adore The Sims 4. So I understand where you're coming from, but The Sims has always been a 12 plus game. Not gonna lie, everything so far has been old and reused content from older Sims games, and it's boring. On one hand, I disagree with this. I think we've actually had some pretty like fun stuff when it comes to The Sims 4. But also, you have to remember, the biggest requests that I personally see on my YouTube, in my comment section, on my Twitter feed, when I check the forums, literally every single request I see is recycled content that people have had in previous games, because they miss it when it's in a previous game and then it's not in The Sims 4. Take seasons, for example. Take pets, for example. Take university, for example. Those are all quite big systems, and I feel like when they're not introduced into the new one, you kind of get like half of the community saying, well, I want like brand new content, I don't really care about all of this old stuff. And then you have like an even louder half of the community saying like, well, Sims 3 was better because it had all of this, and Sims 4 is terrible because it doesn't have any of that. Honestly, can we just cool our jets? I just said cool our jets. I'm literally wearing a cropped fleece and acid wash jeans. I feel like I belong in the 1980s right now. Like, I feel like the Sims team cannot win. Like, I wouldn't want to be in their position when I have to see that kind of stuff, because I'm like, well, what do we actually like recycle? What do we reuse? What are the most popular like previous packs that are being asked for? But how do we try to make it different from the previous version? I found this one really, really interesting. And like I said, I asked for all of these on Instagram. So I kind of wish you guys could have like had a larger scope to send me these in, because I would have loved to hear some of the reasoning behind some of these unpopular opinions. EA/the gurus aren't the only ones to blame for the way The Sims 4 is. I just think this one is interesting. I want to know what this person, like, what are the factors this person thinks? Do you think it's on the community as well, and kind of what people are requesting? I really am intrigued to know more about that one. I really wish you had sent me like a follow-up DM on Instagram, because at the end of the day, EA and the gurus are the ones who decide what goes into their game. Ooh, I feel like this is a very interesting one. Loading screens are a positive. Sure, you have to load public lots, but there are always plenty of Sims. I have to say, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I do agree with that. I actually don't mind loading screens. Again, I have a PC that can load it pretty quickly, and I know not everyone is fortunate enough to have that. So I understand the frustration if it does take a while on your PC to load. However, I much prefer having to sit through a loading screen and then having like a playable full lot. Whereas when I go back and play The Sims 3, there's like 2 or 3 Sims on a lot, even if it's a hotspot. And a hotspot is meant to be a place that's like poppin', everyone's meant to love it, it's meant to be like the brand new like underground club in town, and then there are two people who don't even interact with your sim. The Sims 4 feels a lot more interactive than The Sims 3, which I really like, and the fact that we have to sit through loading screens to get there doesn't actually faze me that much. It should be a preteen life stage in The Sims where they can go to middle school and date. I disagree with this one. I just don't think there should be another life stage. I feel as if The Sims 4 already has like enough life stages. However, I do wish that there was more for children to do. I wish that there was an update or a pack that came for kids. I know we got kids room stuff, but that was basically like furniture. It didn't really add like any new interactions that the kids could do other than void critters. I kind of wish that there was an update to children where they could have like a first crush and they could have like first kisses when they were kids. I don't know how that would work because honestly there are some creepy people out there and I feel as if maybe EA don't want to do that. However, I don't feel as if there is enough for kids to do. I definitely disagree that there should be a preteen life stage because I think if we had the options to actually have a first crush and things like that, we wouldn't need a preteen life stage. And also, I literally did a whole video on my unpopular opinions and I talked about preteens in it, so I will leave that linked in the description because I go into way more detail about why I don't think it should be a thing. My first pet stuff is an okay pack. I might get hate for this one, but I kind of agree with you. Don't get me wrong, I feel like they released it at the complete wrong time. It genuinely just felt like a smack across the face because they released it kind of straight after Cats and Dogs, and it did feel like they had withheld content. Even if they hadn't, it still felt that way because it was so close to the release. So it kind of seemed like they already had all of these objects and then they were like, oh, well, we're not going to put this in Cats and Dogs. We're going to save this for a few months down the line and then we're going to make people pay for it in a separate stuff pack, which again, even if that wasn't the case, it feels like a kick in the teeth as a consumer of the game. However, I have played with the mini pets quite a lot, and I also love Rabbit Rodent Fever. You guys know I'm a little bit messed up and I like to kill a lot of my Sims, and that's a really fun way. It's a really creative way to do so. I have played with it a lot since it came out, so I understand like the frustrations with that pack, and I do feel as if it was shady. I hate that the Creator Sim items were basically recolors. I don't think we should have had to pay for them. I don't think they should have been included in a paid pack. However, the small rodents and Rabbit Rodent Fever, I do like. I wouldn't have paid like $10.99 for it though.
It's my opinion.
But that's where I'm gonna wrap this video up for you guys. Honestly, the whole recording of this video, I literally just had
That's my opinion!
stuck in my head. Honestly, the Real Housewives of Orange County just own my heart at this point. I need to get back into that show because I miss it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and also for sending me your unpopular opinions. If I read any of yours out and you were offended or upset that I didn't agree with you, or if you felt like I was being argumentative, I'm not going to apologize for that because at the end of the day, I was just talking about my opinions in comparison to your opinions, and we're all allowed to have different opinions. That's what makes a community. If we all had the same opinion, things would be very boring, and the Sims team wouldn't have anything to work off because we'd all just be like, yay, we love the game, or no, we hate it, go burn. So I'm glad that we all are different and unique, and I'm sure RuPaul is proud of us. Have you guys watched UK Drag Race? Let me know how you feel about that. Yes, very random, I know, but I need to hear your thoughts on it because honestly, I feel like I cringed throughout the whole first episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave your unpopular opinions down below. If you missed my Instagram story asking for them, now is your chance to vent. So vent away, my pretties, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye guys! Also, I forgot to say it, but if you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, maybe talking about Sims 3, Sims 2, Sims 1, then let me know and I'll do a series on it, maybe. Who knows? I always say I'm gonna do a series and then I forget, so we'll see.